Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Louis Perez Rodriguez the third. No, Jesse Louis Perez. Bringing you Wiretapped Truths, season 1, episode 10 recap. Interesting fact about this episode: when Kima gets shot, it was originally planned for her to die, and HBO executive Carolyn Strauss said she wanted her to live, and David Simon had to rewrite and make Kima live. And
Damn.
if I'm not mistaken, I think the actress fought for her spot too. So a little interesting note here that
Yeah.
this could
Wow.
have this could have been the Death of Kima episode.
Can
Probably
y'all imagine the show without Kima? Like,
No,
you
yeah.
know,
that's crazy.
and this is I took this down to y'all. To me, in my opinion, as I was rewatching this, because I rewatched it earlier in the week, and I'm not gonna lie, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was because of the pod or what, like it made me almost tear up when Kima got shot. Like I was like,
Yeah. Oh, I did hear him.
damn. I was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times and watched it so many times. I guess because now, I gotta watch it and take notes for our podcast. It was like I was like, damn, this is really sad. And I think this might be the most important episode of The Wire. Like in terms of where everything goes after Kima gets shot, like
Mhm.
Burrell and Daniels, they kind of are at odds. McNulty's different, Kima's different, her relationship is different. Everybody is different. Wee-Bey is going to jail for life because of this.
It's the
Like,
most
Yeah.
impactful scene of the Wire.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't, I don't, I don't know. And there's every episode matters, but I think in terms of how many characters Kima getting shot affected, this might be one of the most, if not the most important episode of the whole Wire series. Like,
Well, it definitely
it's
changes the way that the police view the Barksdale organization, right? For the
yep,
entire time, like the higher ups, like Burrell and Rawls and the commissioner, they're all thinking like these are just a bunch of, as they call them, project yos. Like they're like we don't really care about what makes them any difference. Once they shoot a cop, then of course that puts all the extra effort into hiring them. It makes them realize like no, we actually have to like put all our resources into that. So you're right, it does change like the scope of the investigation. And it's honestly, I feel like the Barksdale's downfall, I feel like if had they not, this is what solidified them just going down the uh, in getting arrested essentially. Without this, I don't think the Barksdale organization would have fallen. I think they would have just tried to do like some buy bust bullshit, maybe get like a few lower ranking people, but they wouldn't have had like the manpower and the resources to arrest Avon.
yeah, because once Kima got shot, it seemed like the whole police department was all in. But we getting way past the episode too. Like in the beginning, that's how important this episode
We started
is.
from the end. This is like some memento shit. We're
We're
going
Yeah,
doing
back.
a non
yeah,
re
yeah.
we're doing non re
But
yeah.
thank you, Jesse, for the introduction. I'll introduce myself, and then I'll let Jack, our resident narrator and moderator, bring us into the episode and take us through. My name is Leland Edmond, Mr. Wiretap Truths, as Jesse and Jack have deemed me. We are glad to be here. This is episode 10. We are approaching 50,000 views on our channel as a whole in about 9 weeks, 8 weeks. It has not been too long. So we're just glad to be here. Glad to give you all this content. Everybody that's been tuning in, giving feedback, liking all the videos, tuning in to the lives when we release them. We appreciate people who tune in and just watch the podcast and give us the feedback. So I will let Jack introduce himself and get us started.
What's up, folks? It's another beautiful day here on planet Earth. Thank you for joining us into Wiretap Truths. My name is Jack Simmons. Each of us is three peas in a pod. We all bring a different flavor to this wonderful podcast, and I'm happy to start us off. So, the name of the episode is The Cost. I think very fitting of all the titles. This is one of the most fitting titles, of course, The Cost of Doing Business. You could look at it from a variety of angles, right? The cost of Kima getting shot, that was the cost of doing business with the organization, with the police, right? Omar, they have like talking about the literal monetary costs of Omar wanting money from the Barksdale organization for a truce. So it has a lot of different meanings, right? The title, the quote is, and then he dropped the bracelets from Greggs, which we'll get into later on. I wanted to say, like, one thing I like about the quotes is they're not necessarily the most meaningful or poetic quotes by themselves. Like, that's not usually the quote. It's not usually the quotes that people quote just speaking about The Wire, right? But they're like important in the context of the scene that they're describing.
And the story itself, really, like,
Yeah, and it's usually quotes that most people would have just gone right over their heads, right? Had they not had the show not brought about like the meaning behind it,
Yeah.
So
what was the quote for this?
And then he dropped the bracelets by Greggs. So yeah, I like that. It's different than how they would normally try to get the best quote. It's not necessarily. It's a quote that's important. Directed by Brad Anderson. Fun fact: have you ever seen The Machinist with Christian Bale? Great film. He made that and a few other movies. Anyway, let's get into it. Right. Starts off with Bubbles on a bench. Bubbles is going through bad withdrawals. He's tweaking. He's on a bench. I like this scene because there's no dialogue. It's just him experiencing life sober, and everything's slowed down. And it's good use of camera work because a lot of those shots from his point of view are like in slow or half slow motion. So it's like he's not used to being in the world, right? With
the fog is leaving his mind.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. He sees like people just going about their daily business, like kids with their parents at the park. You got mailmen, you got people walking along the street. The world continues. It's like he's opened his eyes to the world around him. You know what I mean? And he forgot, like, this is life. This is life when you're not high. It's very normal, and he's not used to that normalcy. Now he lives in his sister's basement. And sort of in a suburban area. He's no longer living in a vacant apartment. So he's a little like out of his element, and he's afraid. And some guy walks by him and says, like, "What's up, Bubs?" And it's made clear later on, we see him again, that he was he's like a low level dealer that used to work with Bubbles. And so, yeah, it's his first time in a long time being high, and he's been sober. Sober. He's been sober for 3 days.
And it probably feels like 30 years to him.
Yeah, and you see, it's weird. It's like when you've been doing drugs for that long, being sober is like feeling high. It's like your brain is just not used to the sensations of it. So yeah, that's the cold open. Then after the title credits, we come to Wee-Bey, Stringer, and Avon sitting at the bar. Wee-Bey recently got shot, so he has like a little bit of a limp there. And they're basically discussing like what should we do with Omar. And now, of course, they're kicked into high gear. No, he's not only robbing their stash houses, but he went after the king. And right, what do they say? If you come at the king, you best not miss. Well, he did miss.
He did.
And that's gonna come back at him pretty hard. But Avon's come around.
That's funny. Oh yeah, Omar's words came back to bite him.
Sure.
Yeah. And Avon's sort of come around to Stringer's mentality of thinking. It's like, no, we're not going to go full force, like make a bunch of noise. Essentially, let's trick him. Let's lure him into a trap where we say we want a truce. And then when he lets his guard down, then we pop him. Right. Wee-Bey, of course, is like thinking, no, that makes us look like a bunch of pussies. Let's not do that. But Avon now understands it's about playing the long game. And Stringer is also thinking like, the cops are really onto us. So, because from the last episode, we saw that they witnessed Avon playing basketball. So now they put a face to a name. They know what he looks like. They know where he's located at. So he realizes like the walls are closing in on us. And we need to be extra careful. You don't talk to any dealers directly. You don't handle the money or the drugs. In fact, we're getting you a new phone.
Mm-hmm. He said a new pager.
A new pager, and he hands him that old pager. You only talk to people from New York. You know, if they want to talk to him, they have to like talk to Stringer first.
Yep.
He's doing everything. Again, it's like chess, right?
You got to isolate the king.
Yeah, and Stringer is the queen. He's probably the most powerful piece in the game.
Yeah.
So
it shows you how protective of Avon String is now too. Like,
no, for sure.
Such a difference in later seasons, you know. Like,
and you know what, you all, like, I love this scene. Like my business partner, like I told you all off camera, he's a realtor and an investor, and he's actively looking for like multifamily properties to do a rehab. Like, and it's been just such a hassle for him. And he's just been struggling with the deals falling through and stuff like that. You know, I had to tell him the other day, I was like, you know, the episode that we're watching on for our podcast, he tells him, I told him, I was like, you know, you're the one that's risking your, you know, your money, your financials to achieve financial freedom. And I told him, I was like, Avon says this, or Stringer says it to Avon, we got to build a wall around you. You know, I told that to my business partner to kind of just keep him encouraged, you know, just to say, hey, you know, keep going. Don't let the deals falling through, you know, get to you. You know, he's actively buying properties and buying land here in Georgia. So I use that quote to kind of give him like just a pep up and prep him up. And so I love that scene of Stringer telling Avon, like, hey, look, don't worry about it. We've got you. You know, you just stay isolated and we're going to protect you. Don't worry about anything, you know. So just having that right hand man sometimes, like, it helps. It helps a whole lot.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And Stringer is kind of the more long-term thinking strategist. You know, he's less about like, he wants no attention. He realizes they're most powerful when nobody's paying attention to them, like how they were like prior to the season started, when nobody really knew who the Barksdale crew was, except McNulty. So he wants to get back to that sort of anonymity level. And yeah, he's protecting him for his like business investments, but also I think there is like kinship between them. You know, they go way back. They're old friends. Yeah. So they're getting a lot more cautious. On the cop side of it, meanwhile, McNulty realizes, well, because they're ripping out all these payphones, we need to get wiretapped wires on other payphones that they're using, because again, they're catching up to what we're doing. So he has to go back to his judge, and he says, we'll give you another month, but he does so. Judge Phelan does so begrudgingly.
He's pissed.
He's pissed. Yeah. And I get it too, but McNulty's right. He keeps going back and forth. He even reminds him, he's like, look, you were the one who like put this case going when Burrell wanted to shut it down before.
Yep.
So like, what the fuck? Either you want this case or you don't. You know, he's kind of he seems to be like conflicted about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like that little joke too, where he's like making he's like, don't use language in front of a lady. And he's like,
oh yeah, Rhonda worse than both of us.
You know, they have that funny little banter. You know, it's very like workplace like. They're all joking around. But McNulty's like, why is he so annoyed by this?
Mm-hmm.
And then what Rhonda reminded him was that he's up for re-election on the city district circuit, I think they call it.
Yeah, and he's not on the mayor's ticket.
He's not on the mayor's ticket, and he has to run again because he took over for an incumbent who was like had 2 years left in his term.
Mm-hmm.
And they say like, well, what's wrong with you? It's maybe the company. What's wrong with Phelan? McNulty asks, and Perlman's like, well, maybe it's the company we keep. And you know, I feel bad because you can't really blame Jimmy for that necessarily.
Right. No,
you know, that's a huge responsibility. That has nothing to do with politics in DC. You know what I mean?
Not at all. His relationship with McNulty is not the reason he's not on the mayor's ticket.
No,
right?
Of course not. And also, like, even if McNulty never brought it up to Judge Phelan in the first episode, the Barksdale crew would eventually make waves. You can only stay silent for so long before eventually one of them slips up, right? Like what Avon said when he's at the hospital. He's like, how are you going to never make a mistake? eventually one of them makes a mistake, which brings attention to them. So I think
probably would have been a lot longer though. Avon is pretty careful.
He's pretty careful. I just think eventually, they would have caught on to it. And Avon knows that, that's kind of frames his whole nihilistic worldview. He's like, time is limited. And so you have to make the most of it with the time that we have. But it also goes back to like when Bunk says like, Jimmy, you're no good for people, and he is getting blamed for everyone's shortcomings. But I think kind of, I think a little unfairly personally.
I mean, they say when you're drunk, that's when you speak the truth, kind of thing. So
yeah,
he probably wouldn't have said that sober, but they
say that, but also when you're drunk, you just speak a lot of nonsense.
That's true. No, that's true. That's true.
That was a shitty thing for Bunk to say.
It was. I just saved saved you from this lady, burning this lady house down. Got you home into a bed. Like it wasn't my fault. You chose her. Like.
I just like it. I know we talked about this last night when he goes into his office, like, Bunk, what the fuck? Like, he's just so surprised he's in a robe.
Crazy. And I know we touched on it when we reviewed the episode. That is a true story. Okay. That is a real true story. Somebody set their clothes on fire. It's the real character of Jay Landsman, whoever that cop was in real life. That story it belongs to him.
He shows up later on for a couple of episodes, the real Jay Landsman.
Yeah, he did a good job too.
Yeah. So getting back to what we have here, D'Angelo is in his apartment with his baby mama, Darnett, and she's just yapping his ear off about we gotta get. It's like anyone who's married can relate, I'm sure. Where she's just like, we need to get more stuff for this new kid. Where your apartment isn't big enough, and he's just like, yeah. Just pretend.
Bro, he is not caring at all what she is talking about. The only look on his face is fuck. How did I fuck up with Shardine?
Yeah.
That's how he looks. He's not thinking about what she's talking about, like, at all.
It's like Charlie Brown's teacher. He's like, yeah, bap, 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 and he's just, he's in another world.
He don't even say anything to her. Like, when he leaves, like, she like, where are you going? He don't even say bye. He don't kiss the baby. All he cares about is, dang, I lost Shardine. How can I get her back?
Yeah. And when you think about it, it's like,
what Donette is talking
you know what
about.
I noticed rewatching this episode too? I mean, this series. It's definitely written by a man, right? like a lot of the girls are like seem like nagging and like it's kind of like it's like a little chauvinist. The show like in a rewatch, like the shit McNulty gets away with in season 5, cheating on Beatrice every other day, and it's like,
this episode was written by a woman, though.
And it's like, and then it's like, all right, I'll take you right back. So.
Wait, you said it was written by a woman, Jay?
I think this episode. Oh wait, no, sorry. The next episode was this one. Yeah, no, this one was written by a man. This was written by David Simon. The next one I noticed though was written by a woman.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, in the overall general, I just think it's more like a guy's. Both people love it, both genders love it. I just think it leans more towards males getting away.
Well, there's not as many female characters. I mean, it's true that women never nag or anything. So just kidding, guys. No, I definitely get what you're saying. There's not a lot of like female characters.
Well, what really sticks out to me was the season 5, like the McNulty and that's jumping way ahead, and Beatty relationship though, like just cheating on him, just cheating on her every other day, and then he's like, oh, I'm not going to drink no more, and it's like, oh, okay, we're a happy family again. Like,
I think Greggs, Well, I think Greggs is like a well-written character though. Like she's very dynamic. Same with her relationship to her wife. I always thought
she's not like a straight female of the house. She's like a cop lesbian.
Yeah. I mean, who else we got? We got Jimmy's
how about her wife?
Jimmy's wife.
Like
No, but I think they portray her like sympathetically though, because it's like you realize like Kima's being kind of a shitty wife here later on. She'd ignore him. No, yeah, I get. Yeah, I definitely think that's a good point. It's very much guys written, but I think there's still like appeals to women a lot. There's definitely some good female storylines.
Yeah, it's a cop from it's a cop in the 70s show. Like it for me, it just like it makes more and more sense. Like the beating up in the integration room, like such an old school guy mentality kind of too. Like just stood out to me. That's all.
I got you. Well, yeah, I think also D'Angelo's portrayed as kind of a shithead here. Again, because it's like we always talk about how sympathetic he is, but he's being an asshole. He's ignoring his own child and the mother of his child to go and try to win back this woman. And by the way, I gotta say that like he looks probably the reason that she doesn't want to come back to D'Angelo is because he's wearing a t-shirt that's like 5 sizes too large in this scene. I know that was
Inichi. How do you pronounce that brand? That's middle school.
Oh, yeah.
Middle school.
I know that was
Inichi. I know it's NYC. Yeah. Oh, is it NYC?
Do you notice D'Angelo's shirt in this scene? He looks like he borrowed that from Prop Joe. Like he's wearing. I know that was.
I can't joke because I wear shirts like that. I wear shirts like that myself.
He was sick about losing Chardin. He was at work before she even got there. Like,
yeah,
he was. How long had he been waiting? That means he ain't go to the pit. He went try to do nothing but wait till Chardin got to work just to try to shoot his shot again. Like he's sick about losing her for sure.
Well, yeah, when she walks to the Orlando, she's just straight up ignoring him the entire time. And just goes into the strip club by herself. So I think also she's a well-written female character, very dynamic. But D'Angelo, it's not going well for him. He's just on a losing streak. Nothing's going right. He's not working well with his business. That woman, Chardin, is leaving him. Basically, everything's falling apart for him and also for the Barksdale organization as a whole. So they're closing in, but they realize is like they also have what's his name, Ronnie? No, not Ronnie Mo, Little Man on the pager, and they realize is that there's a pattern here. They call this guy up from the stash house. He rings the back on a payphone, and then they call him at like a convenience store not too far.
I don't know. To me, Little Man's always been weak like that.
What do you mean?
I'm joking. Leland don't get it.
Wait, what did you say?
I said I don't know. To me, Little Man's always been weak like that.
Yeah.
It's
a flip. It's a flip.
It's from a future scene. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. You guys are way ahead of me. I mean, I've already seen it, but you've seen a lot more recently than I have over my head.
And you know what, too, Jesse? It's funny you say that about that scene because whenever we touch on that little scene with Stringer and Little Man, I'm gonna touch on something from season 3.
I know what you're gonna say.
Okay, I don't even. We'll talk about it.
The cop shooting is playing on the radio.
We'll talk about that when we get there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Keep us going, Jack.
Sure. So basically Lester's describing to this guy basically when the supply gets low, they call this guy who always calls back from a pay phone up north because the guy's trying to be sneaky, and they've done the numbers, Presbeluski and all of them have done their research, and they've established this pattern of where the phone calls are being received and when they're calling, so they can know, hey, when the supply is getting low, they can just call this guy. It's really what's great about it is it shows you like very meticulously how this is done. You know what I mean? And you can follow along almost like a detective, and it's very complex stuff of finding out like these patterns, but it breaks it down in like a very accessible way. And I always thought that was really cool, where it really makes you like like you really get into what they're doing almost, you know, and you like it becomes like exciting when you find out the stuff as they're finding it out, you know. It makes you feel like you're part of the case. And so McNulty comes in, says like, hey, we got this guy who's like very upset about Brandon getting shot. He's also like tweaking out. Of course, it's a Polaroid photo of Wallace. All right. So McNulty and Greggs realize we're going to go check that out. Now we see Orlando coming in a very cool old looking car. It's like an old Lincoln. And I love this shot, by the way. I'm going to talk about the cinematography. It reminds the whole thing. What's great about this show is that it's shot on film. So you can tell it has all those like sort of imperfections in them, kind of like old, like we're talking about the 70s, like an old 70s movie. You know, nowadays everything is shot on digital, but this is shot on film and it looks kind of like really cool. And there's a lot of great camera work with this episode specifically, such as this shot of Orlando coming in to talk to what he thinks is a drug dealer. It almost looks like a Paul Thomas Anderson film here. And he goes
and
into
let me just stop you right there too, Jack. Let me just stop you right there before you keep going.
Yeah.
Orlando is probably top 5 easily dumbest characters in The Wire. I don't know. We've never talked about that, but Orlando's probably 1, 2, and 3. He's probably 1, 2, and 3 top 5 dumbest characters in The Wire. He just looks dumb, especially in this episode. Like
he does have that vacant look on his face all the time, where he looks
so stupid guy in this episode. Like
he's got that, and he thinks his haircut makes him look cool, and it's like he thinks nobody respects him. You know what I mean? And he thinks because of his status as a guy who owns this strip club that like people have to respect him, but nobody respects him, not even his own employees. And you're right, he is stupid. And it's like, I know, and I'm gonna have it. But you know what? If he didn't he had a great thing going, and if he didn't fucking try to get too ahead of himself and try to be the man, he would have continued to rake in all this money. It's his own ego and his own hubris that caused him to be arrested like this. He's a tragic.
It's the power. It's like, yeah, I run this club, but I still got to answer to Avon and Stringer,
right?
Kind of thing. It's like all you had to do was sit in the cut and collect the money. You didn't have to do anything,
right? He owns a strip club. What other job is like always great?
How much do you think Orlando was on salary? How much do you think Orlando was making in salary? He wasn't taking in the money from the strip club. Avon was and giving him a salary. I think.
Right.
He was just
I don't know what his salary was, but
if you had to guess, what?
You know what, Jesse? The fact that you ask us that, and the fact that you brought up a few episodes ago about how Avon is the boss. If I can cut costs and cut corners, like when they clip Brandon, you know, and cut you all's pay that I promised y'all. I don't know what he was paying Orlando.
Right. It was decent enough to live on, though.
What would you think? Like $100,000 a year?
I guess I'm not. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? And it would probably be. It probably wouldn't even be at Avon's discretion. It would probably be at Stringer's discretion in terms of, you know, he deals with all of the money management. How much were they paying him? 100,000? Oh no, in 2001.
Yeah, more like probably like 75 or so. You know, I'm not great with numbers, so I don't. We're like how much. I don't know how much a strip club owner normally gets paid. You know,
but you divide it by 2,000 work hours. That's what they say. Like they give you a salary, divide that by 2,000 work hours. So you know, we think
either way,
1,000 divided by 2,000. You know,
he made enough to be comfortable. And a strip club is just one of those businesses that'll always be good, no matter what the economy is. People, if the economy is great, people go to a strip club. If it's shitty, people will feel depressed and they want to see some titties. And so, you know, it's like no matter what, he's making money. He has an easy job and an easy life, but that isn't really enough for him. He also wants to be like a gangster of sorts. And it's like that sort of, you know, imposter syndrome, right?
You know what, too, Jack? Like, the dude looked like a cop. Like, I know we know what's happening in the show, but
I disagree. See, I'm not gonna lie. No, even rewatching this, I was like, God damn, they fooled me. Man, I completely disagree. This guy did such a great job of like pretending to be a deal. Like this is the way he acted. I would have been fooled. I would have been like, fuck, all right, you got me.
And you know what? Maybe it's because when I rewatched this scene the other day and I looked at it and I saw the red bandana and I was like, all right, well, you're not a gangster. We know that. But the red bandana just really threw me off. It was like, I don't know. I don't know if I would look at him and think cop automatically, but then I look at him and like, you look a little coppish. And 30 minutes in, like we want to say, please like, share, subscribe, comment, Wiretapped Truths. We appreciate all the comments, all the love, all the new subscribers. Thank you all for tuning in.
You think maybe subconsciously though, you're like looking for signs because you already know the twist?
Maybe. And you know what? I'll say that. Maybe that's what it is. Because when I looked at it the other day, I was like, you look like a cop.
But people in the game are aware of stuff like that too, though.
That's true. Yeah, but and Orlando is not the brightest bulb. And I was full. I was like, wow, this guy. So he goes into a car. I guess I should describe the scene, right? He goes into a car and the guy's like very calmly asks him to give him the money. He says, oh, I want to buy like 4 grams, right? Which isn't a lot, but
4 ounces. He said 4 ounces.
4 ounces, right? Sorry. 4 ounces, which isn't a lot. He says, oh, if I like it, I'll get more. And then he hands him a bag. And I just love that scene because you see the guys, they're already cracking up, the cops, and Orlando looks at it and gives a look like, oh, fuck, because he realizes he just handed him his badge showing that he's a cop.
He said, what Orlando say? So, where the shit?
Right. It's like, all right, you want to see? I don't know, man. I like this guy fooled me very easily. He's also a very young looking guy too, so maybe that also helps. Afterwards, we see Jimmy McNulty checking out the vacant house that Wallace is living in, and it's just an absolute pigsty. There's just garbage all over the ground. There's
the lights didn't work.
The lights didn't work. You got paint falling off, like old foods all around, and laundry's on the floor. It looks like my room essentially. But
didn't get that. Can you try again?
So he looks at it and he realizes like, wow, it's sad too, because I noticed when he was looking there, like he has like an old toy of like Godzilla on this stand, and it just shows like, despite all of this squalor that this kid's forced to live in, he's still just a kid. You know what I mean? So it's minor details that really makes the show great and worth rewatching, so Jimmy realizes like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, is just a kid who's caught up in everything. And he sees a wire connecting his house to the what do you call it, the street poles,
They're firing the juice to get the electricity.
Right, exactly. Thank you. My brain fart. Anyway, we see Bubble. Oh, I love this scene. Okay, Bubbles talking to Waylon. I love this scene because it really establishes Bubbles' backstory, and you never really hear about it much afterwards. It's like
we don't hear about his son again.
Yeah, I completely forgot.
Bubbles has a kid out there,
I forgot he had a kid until rewatching it. Like, I was like, oh yeah, wow, that's right. He mentions that he has a kid.
Which, I don't even know if it would have been a lesser show or it could have worked for here. But I would have liked to see when Bubbles got sober, maybe the news story reach his son, or maybe him reach out to his son, or kind of like. But I guess Bubbles won't even know where to look, right?
Right. If the last season was 12 or 13 episodes like normal, and they kept everything how it is and just added 3 more episodes, we probably would have saw something like that, because the story in the newspaper room was about Bubbles,
right
at the end of the season, that the reporter was writing, it was about Bubbles. We may have saw something like that, because
he gets to reconnect
come upstairs. She let him come upstairs at the end.
He gets to reconnect with his sister and goes upstairs. Yeah. But we never hear about the son though. So
the son is in, I think he said New Jersey. I think he said, he said that to Waylon. He said that the mom took him up to New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. And it's weird as a New Yorker hearing the phrase "took him up to New Jersey" rather than "took him down to New Jersey." But it's true though. You never hear. I don't know. I kind of it makes sense that the son would want nothing to do with him at the same time, you know.
But not even the son, the mom. I mean, the mom is
Mom too. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying, like, you know, when he would want to reach out to him and just tell him, hey, I'm sober now, you know, can I?
I'd like to connect with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got his own happy ending. But we hear about him, and you know, his mom died. He doesn't know where his dad is. You really do hear about Bubbles' backstory.
Yep.
And I love like this quote. He's trying to make right, and Waylon says, "Forgiveness from other folks is good, but ain't nothing but words coming at you from outside. You want to kick this shit, you got to forgive your own self."
Love yourself some.
That's some real like poetic dialogue, I thought.
It really is. And you know, I didn't even take notes on that scene in particular because I knew you bring it up. But it really was him speaking life into Bubbles. Like, you know, like you think you want to kick, and like Jesse said on the last episode, detoxing by yourself is dangerous, you know. Like,
and this is and the stuff Waylon's telling him here is just all stuff you learn in the rooms. This is all, like I said, Waylon's definitely like the creator of the show's definitely been in the rooms. Is the you gotta do it for yourself. You gotta love yourself. You know, if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of your family? Like, this is all stuff this is straight out of the rooms that Waylon's talking to him. You know, and it's such a like. It's funny because when you're in the rooms, it's like such a like universal language. Like, you know, it's like nowadays you have like Zoom and you have like Instagram and Facebook and stuff. But so like a quick way of like a universal language of the rooms though is kind of like so when you hear talks like this, you're like, yeah, this person's definitely, the writers has definitely been in the rooms, or they definitely went to a meeting or two. But you know, when the creators of AA was Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob, a doctor, a butt doctor, and a real estate guy who couldn't stop drinking, and so it's Bill and Bob. So you always hear Bill and Bob. They're the creators of AA. They founded AA, and they used to go to people and try to get them to be sober. And so, if you hear somebody talking in this generic language of like, you got to do it for yourself one day at a time, you're like, has this guy been to AA? You go, are you a friend of Bill's? So, and
it's part of the language.
So like, there's a thing that used to happen. I mean, it probably does happen, but it's probably very rare right now. A lot of people had hard times at airports. Airports have bars there, and you feel like lonely. So you will go up to the person and go, hey, can I have a friend of Bill's meet me here? And they'll say, a friend of Bill's. And if you ever hear that, that's one AA person asking another AA person to come. That's a little tip.
I know that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I definitely think that there's a lot of knowledge from inside AA. Steve Earle, I think, also is a recovering alcoholic.
He's
and or a drug addict rather.
He might have brought it to the character, to be honest. He might have been their research on it. He might have been the one telling them, you know. Because it sounds like somebody who's just giving their qualification or just speaking to another person, you know.
Yeah, and what's it called? He really does come off like somebody that knows that, and also has this like, he comes off more like the real character. But that point about like forgiveness coming at, you have to forgive yourself. It's true, because Bubbles throughout the entire show holds on to so much guilt, you know, and especially comes at a big moment at the end with Sherrod, right? And he carries so much emotional weight on his shoulders that like letting go of that and learning to live is really like the most important thing, you know. Because Waylon also says like getting clean is the easy part, now comes life. And you know, you forget that like you associate Bubbles with his drug issues, but you forget also like he is a person just trying to figure out his own life and where does he go, and he's lost. He's in his 30s. He has no real direction of what he wants to make with his life, as do a lot of the characters, which makes it so deeply relatable, is that it's not just like their career, but they also just their identity and what they want out of life. And they struggle with that, and they all have like these aspirations, but at times they feel lost. And it's like that looking for direction that it makes you really appreciate these characters on like a deep level. And I love Bubbles' storyline too. I wanted to talk about that because it's like amongst the cops and robbers, you have this real like human story that's kind of like separate from that, you know. It's like it's part of their case, but it's more just focusing on a specific character and his own thing.
He's the heart of the show, man.
Yeah,
he's the in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the glimpse that we have of the closest thing to a regular person, like you said. But he's in between because he's a CI. He's a junkie. So they fit him in there, but he's not a cop. Yeah. He's not this.
And it's perfect because no other shows focus on before this, like, the way cop shows would portray drug addicts is they would be like kind of off screen, or they would just be used as like a prop to be like, oh, this guy overdosed, whatever. But this is the first show to like really explore the complex lives of people that have drug addiction.
That's a good point.
And it's showing like it's not just like, oh, they have a moral. It's not like they have a moral failing. It's they're struggling with like a disease, and to show that like these are good people that suffer from a disease, and that they're, they have the same goals and the same desires out of life as everyone else. And I like that about it. It kind of gives you like just a little bit of a break from like the cat and mouse game. Not saying that that's also not great, but it's also like a different thing at the same time. So yeah, I really appreciate that scene, and Waylon at this point is kind of taken up as like a mentor figure and friend to Bubbles. He's like the only person that he knows that will like really listen to what he's saying. Bubbles doesn't have any friends other than him. The only other friend he has is Johnny, who is still just like a drug addict. And so it's like, it's the only person that will listen to him, But at the same time, McNulty is concocting a little plan of his own. All right. He's trying to get Wallace. And this is a great McNulty scene because...
Love it. One of my favorites.
He assigns 2 police officers to watch him as he's stealing electricity. They're stealing electricity. And they're like, you want us to wait outside of this kid's house to snatch him up for electricity? And then he's like... I got you.
Mrs. McNulty raised no fools.
You got 2 12-packs of Hadley's beer, and that is also like a Baltimore brand of beer. And
then the crab cakes. He mentioned the crab cakes. He said it's the restaurant Faylee's.
It's a they did their homework. Crab cakes and beer. I hope they put that on ice too. But so yeah, he helps them out, and he's trying to get Wallace picked up. But I like that a lot. They're like, "You're okay, McNulty." So he described D'Angelo's being ignored by Chardine, and McNulty and Greggs go over to Omar. Omar just got shot by Wee-Bey, and they're kind of pissed off because we're like, hey, we had a deal. You're supposed to not bring any more attention on yourself. We need you as a witness in this case, and now you're fucking the whole case up. And he says, well, look, I got my own life on the line. What else do you want me to do? And he explains like they're offering some kind of amnesty. Essentially, if I chill out on this, I'm going to meet up with Stringer Bell, and we're going to talk about it, do a parlay, like a mediation, essentially.
And you know what, too, Jack? I love when McNulty repeats the words in this scene to Omar. He's like, amnesty?
Yeah.
Parlay? Like I like that little, I don't know why he felt like he needed to reiterate the words, but I love that little dialogue.
Well, it's like he can't believe like what he's really talking about. He's like, you guys were just shooting at each other, and now you want to have amnesty. I think also, you know what it is? He's like, he can't believe it either. He's like, these people are full of shit. They're gonna shoot you the first chance they see you. You can't possibly think they really want to offer a truce in good faith here.
Right.
But they have the idea. All right, well, if you're gonna be meeting up with Stringer Bell, let's wire you up. And they're like, okay, but at the same time, like, I just got shot and I need a doctor, and if I go to the hospital, Stringer, they're gonna find out which hospital I was, and they're gonna track me down. So you know, for me, doctors, you know.
Let me ask you this too, Jack. Maybe you know. I know Jesse probably have some more insight to this. Do cops have doctors like that? Like,
I'm sure McNulty's got all kinds of connections. You know.
Yeah, maybe speaking about just McNulty. Yeah,
he's got all kinds of people he knows, and there are doctors that do that shit, like in The Sopranos, I remember, although it wasn't the cops, but like Tony has this doctor friend of his, and after one of his men got shot, he called him to do like an emergency procedure on him because he doesn't want it getting checked out by the police and everything.
Got it.
But yeah, Jimmy's got friends in all kinds of places too. So he's like, all right, we'll help him out. Which is entirely against the rules too.
Right.
They know that this dude just got shot and that there is like a gang fight, and they're not reporting it to anyone. So they have to bend the rules a little bit to do what they want. We get back to Orlando, who has just been snatched up by this cop. I like this cop character a lot. The actor who plays him does a really good job of playing this very confident young cop, and he finds out that Orlando says, well, he's trying to buy back time, and he knows a guy named Avon Barksdale. So he says to the Orlando, he's like, I'm gonna look this guy up, and if you're full of shit, I know it. And he's like, well, what happens to me? He says, city jail, motherfucker. Like, Orlando's not getting any respect at all.
And you know what, too, Jack? Still looking dumb as hell, too.
Still looking dumb, like a deer in the headlights. Should have known better, really. He's an idiot. And he kind of he's one of the few characters that really deserve their fates. I feel like it's like I'm not really sympathetic to him at all, because it's not like like we said, he had a good thing going and he fucked it all up. And now he's going to go to a jail where people from Barksdale crew know who he is.
Yeah, and then it flashes to that scene. You all remember in episode 2 or 3, Buddy, who they gave 5 years to, and then he's like, man, you're not gonna believe who's in city jail courtside. He's like, Orlando. That's Buddy, who they gave the 5 years to for the one file.
Yeah, that's the same. Wow, that's the same jail. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's interesting. You never notice it, like, you know, everybody kind of comes back, right?
Yeah.
In an interesting way. But also, like, Carver and Sidner. What's interesting about Carver is he's kind of coming around to the real detective work that they're talking about. You know, he kind of like moans and groans because he has to like wait at this guy's wait at the payphone for hours.
Yeah, he's locked in though. He's locked in. And 48 minutes into, we just want to say, please like, share, subscribe, comment, Wiretapped Truths. We appreciate you, Jack. Keep us going.
Yeah. They have to do more hours, Carver and Sidner, because Herc is out right now. He just passed the exam, so it's almost like adding more insults to Carver. Now he has to cover him because Herc passed this exam when even Carver's like the better cop.
Had he passed it already at that point, or was he just training? I can't remember.
He was just training. I don't think they got the results back, actually.
I think he was in service training for it. Yeah. Okay. But and then Carver is looking crazy as hell in the surveillance. I don't know if y'all have ever had those Utz crab chips that he's eating, but he's eating them bitches with no water. Okay, you cannot eat those chips with no water. They're like, it's like they dump the chips all in the crab seasoning. They're so salty. It's ridiculous. He was tearing them chips up, and I guess he was farting too. That's why Sidner was like, man, you're trifling in here, bro.
Yeah. Are they good chips?
They are. They are
Alright.
good. They taste good. But to drink them with no water is
It's crazy.
That's wicked. That's crazy.
I love
work.
Utz pretzels. You know, they are salty. Yeah, dude. Carver is just a fucking pig. He just trashes his van with food wrappers. He's like Funyuns and ring dings. That's what Cinder says to him. Again, it's showing cops in this non-glamorous way. It's like I get it. Like if you're waiting like an 8-hour shift, you're probably just gonna pig out. It's like what else? He also has beer. I noticed in the van. You know.
I also think like Carver and Herc are probably like the only people that can stand each other to work with each other.
Right? Yeah. No. Facts. He said, Cinder said, "Man, you disgusting." Or, he said you're trifling. And he said, "Yeah, I admit it. I'm disgusting."
Yeah. Well, because he's burping and everything, and he goes out to take a piss. He's just like, you know, he's.
And they're looking crazy.
But he's kind of getting around to what they're doing, and they're watching the phones carefully. Like I said, just like it's real, like human moments. You know what I mean? They talk more like coworkers, where they're like busting each other's balls like that. But they're on the Mondo Mart, and they see that little man is calling. Wait, no. Is Little Man the one from Mondo Mart, or is it the other guy that calls from the Mondo Mart?
The who they think where the re-up is at, or where the stash house is at. Yeah, he's the one that's calling from the Mondo Mart. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah. So they're like, "Hey, we found this guy. He's calling." Meanwhile, Jimmy's been drinking all night. He's fucking passed out. Everyone just drinks on the job, man. It must be nice being a cop in Baltimore.
The transition from when Carver got out the car to when they show McNulty in the office, it flashes to the outside to show like, hey, look, we're going from day to night, you know, kind of thing. I love when they do that. Like it's not necessary, but it's so necessary, like kind of thing. Like
shows the parallels.
That's another thing where you could tell this is an old school cop written show. Like can't get away with drinking a job now. I mean, Baltimore's a little different, you know, like Leland said, we own the city, but I mean, with body cams in there, you can't get away with half the shit now. Like having a 6-pack on the job, like
Jesse, he had the alcohol bottle in the homicide office, like
yeah,
on his person.
I think it's like a 70s, 80s thing now. Like I think they used to get away with it all the time, you know, and nobody even said nothing. You know,
because he was looking crazy too. Like he slumped over. You know, he looking crazy in the in front of that interrogation room.
It was like the mail carriers. Like the mail carriers, they were notorious for being in bars and finishing their route and just going to a bar. They can't do that now. Times have changed. Yeah.
This is 2002, so yeah, I guess it was definitely more common back then. Now cops aren't as cool. They don't drink on the job. You know, he's been doing work all night. He finally got Wallace up there.
Yeah.
But it shows he's a functioning alcoholic, right? Because
for sure. I can't go home. I got Wallace here. Fuck it. I'm gonna give me a bottle and just drink and just stay here, you know, till I figure out what I can do with Wallace. But I'm not going home right now. I just get a bottle and drink in the homicide office.
In a way, he's celebrating because it's like, you know, Wallace is able to give him the whole case. He's pointing out they got Stringer, Wee-Bey, Savino, Stringer, Wee-Bey, Stinkum, like all those guys on the phone doing Brandon's
such a
murder.
big piece. Like I wanted to ask y'all, I wanted y'all's insight to this. Like, I get it that Wallace was tore down about, you know, seeing Brandon and stuff, but like he is about to bring down a whole organization. Like the Brandon murder, like, I mean, I guess they haven't directly affected Wallace like Stringer and them, but like him telling McNulty this stuff, he's about to bring down everybody. Like it just didn't seem like they showed I almost said enough trauma with Wallace, but it's like it didn't seem like he was wronged a whole lot in the show to get to this point to where it's like, okay, yeah, well, I'm about to bring down everybody.
Well, he's a kid, man. He's terrified.
He is a kid, yeah, and I know that.
That's you gotta remember. It's, you know, he's afraid of what's gonna happen to him. He just saw some dude get he saw the aftermath of a guy getting brutally tortured and murdered. He's probably like, these guys are monsters. Yeah, I want them to go. You know, that's the thing about, like, we talk about Stringer, Bell, and all these people. Like, you know, and I mentioned last episode, like I don't like Stringer and how that's unpopular, but it's weird that it's unpopular because
Yeah.
when you think about it, like Wallace is a child, like no matter how charming and cool Idris Elba is, the character of Stringer and of Stringer, the character by himself is like an evil scumbag criminal.
He's very meticulous and very evil.
Well, the saddest scene in The Wire is Wallace getting killed,
Right.
You know, and then
Yeah.
people don't even care that Wallace was a rat. They're like,
It's-
but he's a
they
kid.
don't-
you know?
Mhm.
It's so weird that they don't put the. It's like Stringer Bell at his core. No matter, he is a bad guy. Like, and The Wire does like remind you of that repeatedly. Like these aren't good people. They're psychotic murderers. That you know. So it's like.
It's funny that Mike. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's funny that Michael B. Jordan thought he might not work after getting killed, and now he's like one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah,
What?
that's true.
Yeah, it's like his story when he comes back from being at his grandmother's house, and it's like, hey, I'm back. You know, it's almost like, well, like it's like it's not resonating in his head. Like, oh shit, I just talked to the cops. I just gave them everything, and now I'm back. You know, kind of thing. Like it's not. D'Angelo has to tell him like, hey, look, like you know, I'm gonna put you back on the money, but look. You messed up some shit when you were gone, kind of thing. It's like Wallace isn't even. It's not even registering his head. Like I just pretty much gave up the whole organization, and now I'm back. Now I want to work. I want to get back to selling drugs, you know, kind of thing. So we'll talk about that when that episode comes. But when I was breaking down this episode, I took that note. Like, damn, he's about to bring this house down on everybody. Like,
but it's kind of like this scene is so important, or this episode. It's like it brings those two worlds together. We see Wallace being interviewed by McNulty and Daniels, and it's kind of like the two worlds are coming together, right? Mm-hmm. And Wallace is describing how long he's been working there, how Ronnie Moe was running the pit before D'Angelo came down there, and he was basically describing everything that happened with the murder and about who was there, how they called it up. And he realizes, like, Jimmy realizes, like, this corroborates with what we heard on the payphones. That he talks with Perlman and Daniels about this. And, like, this is their breakthrough. We have a witness that can point to the guys murdering some dude. And we also have the phone calls between them. Like that is a slam dunk right there. That's the fucking case that can bring them. You know what I mean? That is like their golden ticket. So they have a big breakthrough coming, but they also realize like, what are we gonna do with this kid? And it's sad that they don't have the resources to like protect him. That he doesn't have like any parents that are around, so he has to go to like his grandmother's house on the West Coast. Daniels tries to get Perlman. To on the coast of Maryland, countryside. And Daniels tries to get Perlman to like kick in some money from City Hall to put him up at a hotel, but he realizes that's not going to happen. So, but meanwhile, the cat and mouse game is back because Sidner and Carver are talking back to the dungeon, and they find out, hey, this guy is at the Mondo Mart. He's calling he's calling Little Man at the payphone. They're going back and forth. Sidner tracks him down to some local house. Sidner, of course, is such a fucking cool pro at his job, pretending to just be some random dude drinking beer out of a paper bag, smoking a cigarette, looking like shit. He's just
top
Sidner's
5
awesome,
underrated characters. Sidner's on that list for sure. Top
He's
5
just so
most
good
underrated characters. He's really good.
Yeah.
Like,
so inconspicuous. He's like, so he follows him to a house in the suburbs. They realize like, oh, this must be the stash house. Meanwhile, Orlando goes to city jail, and I took notes of this. This is like very in deep. I have the subtitles on too, which I like for this because it helps you pick up on shit. Yep. So they're like, they're listening to baseball, and one of the baseball announcers says like, we have a month to go, which kind of talks more about like they have a month to go left on this case. You know, I don't know, little parallels. But Orlando also happens to see that guy that you're talking about. He realizes, oh shit, this is, or he calls the Barksdale crew.
Yep.
And realizes, hey, we see Orlando over there.
And he's still looking dumb as hell.
Yeah, he's just.
You keep pointing that out this episode, how stupid he looks at every scene. Like,
yeah. No, he's a fucking idiot. The Lester and Carver and Cinder are closing down. One thing about Lester too is he's like the grandfatherly wise sage amongst them. You know, he's like the Gandalf of their whole group, and he's even like they ask him a question, they're like, "Oh, so we need to get like a warrant to look for this house," and he doesn't even respond to them. He just walks away. He's like, "So is that yes, sir?" Like, kind of slightly condescending in his own way, but it's like he's a wise dude. You know what I mean? And definitely is like the leader of them.
For sure. He's definitely like the wise one of them all. And 1 hour in, we just want to say, please like, share, subscribe, comment, Wiretapped Truths. This is episode 10. We appreciate you. Jack, keep us going.
But it's funny when they ask him that question, he walks away and the Sinner just like rolls his eyes because he's like, dude, can you just give us a straight answer? Like, we're getting a warrant or what? And then, but Lester has also gained a lot of respect for Prez Belusky because
that's his boy.
Yeah, as Jesse said in the previous episode, Prez Belusky has a talent for numbers and patterns and picking up on these sort of meticulous details.
Yeah. That scene too, I think it's next episode where they have Charlene do like the measurements of the strip club before they put the mic in, and she's giving it to Prez, and Herc is writing it down, and Prez gives the calculation off the top of his head. Like he's super intelligent. Yeah. He's
very smart. He just, you know, when his talents are applied properly, which is actually what Valchek said when the episode 3, he's like, he just needs a little guidance. And in his own fucked up way, he was right.
A little guidance.
And honestly, Lester gave him that guidance of like a mentor figure, and really realized what talents he has and appreciated that and encouraged him to do more with that. So,
and he's laying out to their assets. He said, I took notes on it. He said 3 different holding companies. They've got multiple commercial vacants, you know, kind of thing. Like he's laying out exactly like all the assets that they have in terms of real estate. Like it's really telling to kind of see the structure of exactly what Stringer and Avon had built in terms of cleaning money, laundering money. Like they were really washing this money through hundreds of assets almost. Like it seemed like maybe not hundreds, but multiple assets, a bunch of assets they were cleaning this money through. Like,
yeah, no, of course their organization runs deep. And you're right. It's the more you put the launder the money out in legal acquisitions, such as like houses or storefronts, the harder it is to trace. Because it goes through all these different sources, and Stringer knows that. Which
they said that in season 3 too, when he's talking to Prez, and he's like, Stringer has become the bank.
Yeah,
I just put the money up. I've got enough legitimate businesses where you can't really trace where my money is going. Like you can't really, because I make so much straight money, you can't really tell me what to do with my straight money. But I make so much of it that you can't really tell where I'm putting it or where it's going to, you know, because it's drugs that I never see. I just put the money up.
Yeah, no, of course. And they realize is like that they're dealing with pros. You know, Stringer is a pro. He knows he has got good business sense and good a criminal mind sense to do that. And Freeman has so much respect that he's like, hey, tomorrow calls for police work. Are you ready? And it's like, I'm not really allowed to use my gun until the trial dates. And Carver and Sinner give each other looks like they're worried too. Like, we don't really want this guy out on the street either. We don't entirely trust him yet, but he's ready to go. You know, he's back to where he was. And we talked about like how life kind of conflicts with police work. We have a great example of it where McNulty's asked to have like a temporary stay of what do you call it?
Visitation.
Visitation, yes, of course. McNulty is called to court, like an emergency session. He's like, I need a lawyer. Well,
I fucking
Perlman,
need a fucking lawyer. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I love it.
Perlman's right there. Landsman even's like, hey, Perlman, he points to her. And he goes to this court, and they explain, well, we used him to track down a criminal. Real, like, unfair. I mean, I get it from her perspective, right? But obviously Jimmy was explaining like it was in broad daylight. It's not, he wasn't going to let them get attacked by this.
But at the same time, like Jesse pointed out, he don't know Stringer like that. He don't know what Stringer is capable of. Granted, it is broad day on a Saturday, but I mean, he's a kingpin, but you don't know. You don't know if he's gonna snatch him up or harm him. I get his broad day, but like Jesse said, you don't know to try to. There's no justification for it.
There's no like, but like I don't know. I feel like this one is an extreme measure by Elena's part to have this temporary restriction of access to their kids.
No, for sure. She was out of pocket too. She was out of pocket too.
And I love the judge.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
That's a good point, my friend. I like to. This judge is great, and also this is a great scene with Perlman too, because they asked her like, "What do you have to say?" She's like, I'm not a divorce lawyer. Like, what do you want? I have nothing to add here.
What did she say? She said, "Do you have a statement?" Perlman. She was like,
I maybe if this is
I don't have nothing for you. I don't know what to tell you. I ain't even supposed to be here. Okay, she was no help at all.
She even said, "I'm officially clueless." And she said,
homicide.
McNulty did have a set of balls, right? You bring the girl that you were cheating with to represent you and your it's like, and I mean, granted, it's like a last minute thing, but I don't know. I was like,
just to add insult to injury. It's like, not only is the person I'm gonna represent is the reason we're divorced to begin with.
It's a wicked, ballsy, like big cojones move by McNulty, bro. Because really, bro, you really brought her. Atlanta was shocked. She couldn't even believe it.
It was a ballsy move, but it's true. She says she says, I'm officially clueless. She's like, if this was possession with intent, I'd be a prosecutor with a plan. She knows too. She's like, I'm not getting myself involved in your bullshit. Like, this is between you guys. And she's like, honestly, you feel bad for Perlman because it's like this is probably the last place she wants to be. She doesn't want to be reminded of this infidelity situation that she was with. It's like it is crazy. Like Jesse said, just bringing her into the case, like that is nuts. But the judge understood the assignment.
Yeah, the judge was on point.
And I love her.
That's somewhat of a rarity,
because she realized this is so stupid.
Yeah,
like they did nothing to break the law. You're calling me in for some petty disagreement to stick it to your ex-husband. It's like you could have solved this case. You could have solved this with a conversation. And she even says that. She's like, "Are you available to speak to your wife?" Like, yes. Are you in good standing to speak to your husband? Yes. And it's like, good. She's like, I want to come back with something a little more interesting than the problems of the McNultys. And
she's right though.
She's great. Yeah, one of the best one scene characters. That judge is not having anyone's bullshit. And Jimmy and Elena talk, and you find out that not only was Perlman a one night stand, but he was having an affair with her.
Facts. Yeah, I mean, on and off. He said not Olivia. Elena said she had him. Elena said she had him at the the hotel. Yeah. At the where else was it? It was a few
at a restaurant.
The restaurant opening her
chair at the restaurant.
Yeah,
they were caught on the jumbotron at a Coldplay concert. It was they're all over.
Crazy story.
Yeah. But yeah, so we find out this was an ongoing thing. And she even asks, is this still going on? And he's like, kind of, every now and again, we still fuck.
Yeah.
But she realizes, look, he did have him follow this drug kingpin, but she understands, he's not going to, actively put his kids in harm's way at the same time. Or maybe I'm a little overly sympathetic to McNulty. I don't know.
Oh no, for sure, Jack. That's your boy. Yeah. No,
I
that's your
get
boy.
it.
It might be the Irish thing. That's your boy for sure.
But Elena is right, like for the, and it is a great scene. So that's the thing about it, though. It makes you really sympathetic to the women because you talk about how like all the men like are all cheating. We talk about like women's place in the show. But what I like about it is it really does show you like what these women have to deal with these asshole husbands that are going around sleeping around on them, not listening to them or respecting them. Kind of makes you like sympathetic to them, you know?
Yeah.
If McNulty from season 5 was who Elena was dealing with, you know, before they got divorced, if he was, you know, on that type of time, you know, kind of thing, then I get it. You know,
I would be pissed. Oh yeah, dude, he's in
season 5. McNulty was he was on a whole nother level.
He was an animal in season 5.
Yeah, he was an animal, bro.
He was really
he was an animal, bro. He was having sex with that girl on the car at night. You know, like I mean, like you know, he was wilding. Like he wasn't going home some nights. Like he was just going crazy. Season 5, you know. So if that's who McNulty is in full, you know, like I get it.
Yeah. But one of the best scenes in this is Levy's scene with Orlando. Levy is a fucking piece of shit, and he's a monster, like of a lawyer. He goes straight like gangster mode in this episode.
He said it's his favorite scene that he shot in the whole show.
The actor's Levy. Yeah. Yep. He really puts pressure on him. He says basically you strip the board away. Like not only do you not own this bar, you don't have a liquor license to sell. We're transferring this. I backdated it, so now you have to sign it.
Yeah, you know, took care of everything. You know, just so we can say it was done before you got arrested. You know, took care of all of that. Go ahead and sign it, or I'm gonna tell him that you didn't sign it, and
that's
he's
the great thing.
Gonna have you killed. You know, so. Sign it or lose your life. You know?
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to sign this unless you provide bondsman. He's like, is that what you want me to tell them, that you're not going to sign that? And he's like,
you're right. Fuck no. Let me go ahead and sign this.
Really just shows you he is ruthless and is exactly the type of lawyer that a large criminal organization would need, because that's completely unethical. As any lawyer, anyone that knows anything about the law knows, lawyers are not supposed to actively aid and abet their clients. My dad's a defense attorney. He would never actually protect. He would never actually like protect their organization in a way that would like help them out. You're not supposed to assist them with their criminal wrongdoings. You're supposed to represent.
What's the word? A conciliar?
Conciliary.
Yeah, you're part of it.
Right, exactly. You're supposed to represent them when they get in trouble. You're not supposed to help them out with their criminal wrongdoing. And by taking it away from Orlando, the bar away from him, he's actively like protecting their organization from being caught.
Yep.
And he does this a few times throughout the show, which shows like he's a sleazy lawyer. He really is.
But they can't. So there was one that I always bring up that he definitely, I don't think is realistic. The ordering the hit. But
the hit of the delivery lady.
Has your dad ever?
Security guard.
Yeah. Has your dad ever watched
or ordered hit on someone?
Has he commented on Levy?
Was about Levy? I mean, like he thinks he's a piece of shit.
No, but it's just how realistic is it?
The when he put a hit on
right
him?
Now.
I mean, there are people like that. I don't know how. I think it's pretty realistic, personally. I think there are definitely people that do that kind of stuff that are like actively, I mean, look at like Alan Dershowitz or all these, but that's a whole other question. But I think there are a lot of.
I asked the lawyer about the hit, and he was like, "Yeah, that part is not very realistic at all." Like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much about it, but I think it works for his character. You know what I mean? In terms of like realism, like I'm like whatever. I think for his character, it definitely fits because he's just like the type of guy that would go that length to do that. I think that's what they're supposed to portray about Levy. He's an unusual type of character, and he's like a sociopath in his own way. And anything, he's more like ruthless than any criminal because he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He has no stakes in the game. emotionally. These people like are just commodities to him to make money off of them.
Yeah.
And so it's like if
case Omar has the shotgun.
right. And it's like if they get caught, the Barksdale people go down. Well, he'll just find another criminal organization for them. He'll just represent whoever the people that takes over. He's kind of like, yeah, he's sociopathic in that way of just like doing all of this horrible shit and not really having any sense of remorse or anything. And I think he's a good like version of that character because when he talks, he justifies his own actions, which is common of sociopaths. He thinks he's a good guy or that he's protecting people, but he's only just trying to enrich himself. And it's the first time we really see like a ruthless Levy in that sense. You know, we also like established kind of like a kinship between not kinship, but like a relationship between Daniels and Wallace. And I was thinking about this. It's like if Wallace, it almost reminded me of like Bunny Colvin's relationship with Naaman. And it's all about like the possibilities in a parallel universe. Daniels could have adopted Wallace, you know, and protected him in the same way because he's looking at him like slouched over and he realized like this is just a teenager who's fallen prey to these gangsters and this lifestyle. And like a 16-year-old is using heroin, you know, he's like, Jesus Christ, this kid needs help. That's what Daniels is realizing, you know. And so I think that it's trying to show the possibilities that, you know, yeah, in a different world, they could have had like a relationship like that. But now we get to the parlay and Prop Joe is there. Just
like cocksuckers.
Drinking
they always throw like a jab at Omar. like it's like always like, you know.
Wait, what's that?
Prop Joe's like speaking of cocksuckers, like this a joke like throwing at Omar.
Yeah, he does a few of those. He's like the mediator. He even describes he's like I'm like divorce mediator.
Yeah, that's the part I was talking about. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Tell her wife she got to suck more cock, and then Omar comes. He's like speaking of cocksuckers.
Yeah, so Prop Joe. It's funny that they even need like Prop Joe there as the mediator. And
it was a smart. I think it was smart.
No, yeah, I mean it's just funny in the idea. Like you said, it's like we have like a marriage counselor here, but in those ideas, in those worlds, yeah, you do need somebody like as a third party witness. It's also, I think, for their own protection. I think too, they have somebody to back them up.
You know what? Too, just what I call him, Prop Joe. Like from season 1 to season 4. In season 1, his encounters with Omar, he's like, okay, yeah, it's almost like, yeah, Prop Joe's a gangster. You know, I'm not scared of Omar. You know, he told him, like, you steal from me, I kill your whole family. You know,
yeah, because
in season 1, Omar, and Prop Joe, but season 4, like I said, he's scared shitless of Omar. Like,
well, he grew to realize who Omar was, and also, I think a lot of it was talk the part, be the part, right? Like you gotta talk it. All right, maybe it's not all true. Maybe I won't kill you and your kids if you steal from me. But
right. Look the part, be the part, motherfucker.
Look the part, be the part. Yeah.
And he does have value, and it shows that he's like respected on both parts of like Omar and the Barksdale crew. He's I forgot how early Prop Joe is introduced in the show, but he really is like one of the most important characters.
It's the last episode on Game Day.
Oh yeah, that was the first appearance of him. Yep. So yeah, Omar's wired up, and they're talking about a parlay between them. He calls it truce, and Stringer even subtly threatens him by saying like, "Hey, look, we have more soldiers on my side than we do of your side, so maybe you should back the fuck off because." In actuality, we can just overpower you. He puts a little pressure on him.
Yeah.
This is a great Stringer scene.
I don't even understand this because Stringer doesn't know no Avon. So who
like why is he even talking? Yeah, exactly. What the fuck is he even talking about? He doesn't know Avon Barksdale.
He's so careful. Like when he mentions Brandon, he's like, I don't know shit about shit. And it's like Barksdale, yeah, I don't know nobody named Barksdale, and I'm glad y'all brought this up. So in season 2, when they do the connection from Prop Joe to Butchie and Omar to connect back with Stringer, and they bring Omar in, he's talking to Stringer. Stringer is a little bit less cautious with what he's saying. Like, I guess he's not saying nothing incriminating still, but he's like, okay, yeah, you put down. I guess his Avon's locked up. You don't have to hide him anymore. But he's like, you put Avon in jail. You killed this person, this person. I guess he's not incriminating himself, but he's speaking on names. He's saying names a little bit more in season 2, like, but nothing incriminating still. So,
yeah,
it's
true.
I think he loosens up. Well, I also think like at the end when they realize is like he's not getting arrested, it makes sense. Like he becomes like, oh, okay, I guess I can loosen up
I can operate a little bit, yeah.
But it makes sense that he's like, you keep seeing how careful he is, and that's one thing I noticed while rewatching how he doesn't mention Avon. So it makes sense, like, oh, he's not the one who's going to get arrested. In reality, Avon would be the one more likely to get arrested.
But also that sit down, he mentions the people that already. He said Wee-Bey's down for life.
Everybody's already locked up.
He said Stinkum. If anything, he blames Omar for that murder. He said you closed the book on yourself.
Yeah.
And then he said, and Bird, you made sure Bird was locked up. So he's not really.
It's nothing incriminating.
He's not really saying nothing too incriminating.
Nothing at all.
And if anything, he's like putting the blame on Brother Muzon. He says the guy who tortured your Oh no, he did say I put out the hit, right? He said no.
Yeah, he said I put out the hit, and then that Brother Muzon did all the extra stuff, and then Wee-Bey and Burrell were just there, and they weren't doing anything.
So he did admit to putting out a hit. Okay.
Yeah. All right, Jack, keep us going, my guy.
Is Jack frozen? Do you have a reception from Jack?
Nope, I think we lost him.
So while we wait on Jack to come back, it was then they this whole conversation was pretty funny though, because and Omar's just testing him, right? Omar wants to see if he could stay in Baltimore or if he has to leave, right? Yeah. Essentially, so kind of like just like one big one big test conversation, seeing where Stringer's gonna if Stringer's gonna take the bait or not, right? And he said, that's why I said how much. What did he say? That's how come I said that much money to see if they would bite it. What was his decision to leave?
Because he said that that's why I asked for the money, because if they had just said we ain't giving you shit, just be grateful to live, he said then I'd have felt like okay they were being sincere, but he said they're talking about come down to the projects for 5,000. Nah, I'm good on it. I know they'll probably be waiting for me. Like,
yeah. So this whole thing and is Omar helping out the cops here, trying to say he's like, look, I did what I did for you guys what I could, right? And he's got on the cover and everything, So it's funny because like I think you said it before. Omar's like full-fledged working with the police here, but the fans never really label anything of him as like snitching or cooperate,
And you know what? I'm glad you said that, Jesse. So like, you remember when they first killed Brandon and he was riding around like with McNulty and with Greggs, and he was like, if anybody has a problem, I'd be much obliged to put my gun right in their mouth. Like, so people could see like, he was riding around with them at that point. Like,
yeah. So he was, that is pretty funny. So, but it's just funny, and then this conversation here with Stringer, and Stringer, like we talked about, plays it extra careful. Like, I don't know nobody named Barksdale, G. I don't know Avon. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. All I don't know shit about shit, bro. If you could stop dipping into my man's pocket, then we could let you live, basically. He's like, parlay they're throwing out there. So,
And then let me see. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying season 1 with The Wire too. It is the cops versus Avon, and then we also get this side story of Omar versus Avon thrown into the mix. I felt like the Barksdale had 2 thorns in this side through this season, like big thorns. Like Omar and the cops. They're like one stopping them for unnecessary stops and cracking down on them, and then the other guys killing members and robbing their stash houses. They have to put it into it. So Omar, hands down, is one of the most badass characters to ever grace the screen, though. That's
legendary. Legendary. All right, let's see where we're at.
And
we're waiting on Jack. Let me see. So it's down. Okay, we only have a few scenes left. Let's see where we at. We'll finish. Okay, so then let's see. We go from there, and then we go to when they're having Kima and the girls are having drinks. So that's where we're at. That's where the quote comes from.
Yeah, this is where the quote
Say it
comes
again.
from. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
For me, it's a big foreshadowing moment. I mean, I'm like, this is, if I was watching this episode for the first time, or if this was in a movie, I'm like, Kima's dead. I would think Kima's dead.
Yeah.
The wife that's scared that she's a police officer. She talks about the first encounter. Go ahead if you want to break down the scene.
Yeah, no. Keep going. I was because I'm with you too. Like thinking the same thing. Like.
No, she talks about like her first encounter with the police. Oh, we got our narrator back. What's up, Jack?
Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're
My
fine.
internet's all fucked up. So I gotta call Optimum tomorrow to figure that out. But I'm here.
Okay.
We're
right in the scene where they're in the bar.
Great scene. Yeah. They
So I was just saying that this was a big foreshadowing moment, for me. Like if I was watching this in a movie, I'm like, Kima's dead, like, that Cheryl's like concerned about her being a cop. She doesn't like that she's being a cop.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a few scenes. Well, this scene and also the scene later on in the episode where she goes back to Bubbles, and Bubbles tells her like, all right, just he needs a place to stay, and they have a bonding, and she's like, just come back tomorrow and I'll talk to you. You can kind of like, it definitely foreshadows that, you know what I mean? Like she's like, hey, just come. Yeah. So, which is a great scene too, because you really see the kinship and she genuinely cares about Bubble and wants to help him more
They
than
love each other.
Right. More than a normal police informant relationship. She genuinely cares for him. That scene too is great because it's like we see Kima out of the office when she's just hanging out with friends.
Yep.
It gets into these cops' personal lives.
You know what? Speaking of Kima too, I'm glad because I think we kind of looked past that. I forgot to mention it. When the state trooper cop comes into the detail office and he's talking and he's like, Kima's just mad because I had her when she was good. Is he saying that they dated, or is he saying that he had her when she was before she was gay and she was a cop? Like what was he?
I took it as she did the undercover cop that busted Orlando have relations with Kima. I don't think.
What's your question?
You remember when the cop that was dressed up as a drug dealer, the one that arrested Orlando?
Uh-huh.
When he comes into the detail with McNulty and Kima, and he's telling them about who he just locked up, and he mentions it, and that's what led him to their detail. He said, Kima, she's just mad because I had her when she was good, and I was asking, is he saying that they slept together, or before she was gay and she was a cop, he was her boss, or kind of thing? I didn't know exactly.
I don't think that's necessarily like a gay thing. I think that was more just like, I took that as like, I had her as like I was working with her before she became like a big time cop. I didn't take that as like a sexual thing at all, personally.
And the only reason I asked is because he said, or she said, well, you the ugly motherfucker that turned me the other way. So I was like,
so maybe there was like, maybe that was a relationship.
I don't know. Like I don't know.
She was always gay, she just didn't realize it until then.
And so we're almost finished. Let's see where we at. Kima, Bubbles.
We're at the scene with okay. We're at
but it's a great scene because you find out Kima's motivation for getting the cops, and you realize she has determination, like she did with this story about chasing down this guy, right? And you see that like this is what she was meant to do, but at the same time you see the fear in her wife's or girlfriend's face, and it's the same fear that everybody who's married to a cop has, that same fear of them getting hurt on the job. It's kind of a
And then
universal experience.
ultimately, she's proud of her too, though. And they kiss. Because there's that fear, she doesn't like it, but she's also proud of her.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I like that scene too. It's you see her in her off time.
Yeah.
Just like a very like slice of life kind of moment. You know what I mean? Now Daniels is facing an impasse here because they realize, hey, we have this guy Orlando, right? And he's has, like, he says he has information on Avon, but he tries to explain to Burrell, look, we can't Avon's not going to go near the money. He's very careful. We're just going to
we can't buy our way up the ladder.
Yeah. And Burrell says, like, buy bust. That's what I told you guys. And he does, like, all right, fine, we'll do it. And in a way, Burrell fucks this whole thing up. All this thing about Kima getting shot, it's really on the higher ups. Kind of a metaphor for how these people that are higher up in these positions screw over the little guys. In this case, in a literal sense, because she actually gets shot here.
Yep. And just an hour and a half in, we want to say please like, share, subscribe, comment, Wiretapped Truths. This is episode 10. We appreciate all the love. Jack, go ahead and finish this out, my boy.
I will have to leave in a few minutes, unfortunately.
Okay, we're at the end.
But I do want to bring up before you guys will probably have to narrate the shot where I love it, but fuck, I wish I could do that because I love that scene. So
we're right at the end. Go ahead and finish. All
right. I was going to talk about how McNulty. This is the last time we see Omar for the end of the season. He leaves for New York. He's smart enough to know not to fall into their bullshit trap. Wallace.
Me and Leland kind of talked about that.
Oh, okay. My bad. Anyway, we're at the end. They set up a sting operation where they have Savino go to buy drugs from Wee-Bey, and which is fucking stupid because obviously this guy is working for the cops. He just got arrested. Now he's trying to go back. And Carver even says that when they're discussing the plan. It's like, won't these guys know that he's working as an informant, especially if you're bringing around some random person who's Kima that they've never met before? The whole thing is really
it's
not
sloppy,
well thought out at all. Their plan.
And the fact that Stringer approved this whole thing was like fucking.
I was just about to say that.
Fucking put 2 and 2 together. What are you doing? It's so stupid, this plan of theirs, and they but they have to
acknowledge the show when Avon was.
Yeah. Right, but they have to go through them because that's what the bosses suggested. And so they suggested, hey, why don't we go through? All right, we'll go through with this plan. And I love this scene because it's so intense, very emotional. It's all right to admit it. We all cried when Kima got shot. It's okay. We're men. We can admit it. There's no toxic masculinity or whatever. We all cried. It's a sad scene. Kima gets shot. But this whole scene is very like patient in the way it's executed. It really gets you into that mood. Like you feel like you're tracking them down because they're constantly walking each other. McNulty and Daniels in one car, Carver and Sidner in the other car, and they're constantly going back and forth. All right, we got this guy picked up. We're heading down the avenue. We gotta. Oh, she wants to stop for beer. Do you pick it up? Oh, okay, where are we? It's like it kind of lulls you into like what's happening. You know what I mean? You sit there. It's all dark. You can even hear the background noise of the streets and the cicadas. It took place on August 12th. I noticed that at the end scene, a day before my birthday. And then she sees a shadow, a silhouette, and she realizes there's something going wrong. And all of a sudden, it just happens so abruptly. We see Orlando's face. He's like, oh, fuck. That's the last expression he ever makes as a person as he gets shot. And as soon as he hears them get shot, they flinch. It's like a trauma response. Even cops that are well trained have that response to that, And McNulty is screaming that of where she is. He's radioing for backup. They realize they have to get Foxtrot. I remember that's where I learned that Foxtrot means helicopter in police speak. You pick up on stuff like that. Yeah. He even switches perspective, so you see the cops. You even see it from the perspective of the helicopter, and it's just so intense. I was when I rewatched it, I realized the scene's only like 4 minutes, but it feels just so
like 20 minutes, yeah.
Because it's just so fucking oh my god! It's your eyes are glued to the screen. Yep. It's exhilarating. Your heart's pumping when you first watch it. You don't. The show, of course, it's unexpected. You don't know if she's gonna die. Yes, she's a main character, but
she can be dead.
Die? Who knows? And so you really are when you find her and McNulty takes her bloodied body out of the car. You're thinking fuck, this could be it. And what's great about when they pull up to her, the background noise of the sirens is so loud. It really it's overwhelming and intense. And you could tell they had to amplify the mic on McNulty because he's we need backup, you know. The way the camera's placed, it's surrounded by all this sound to immerse yourself in this experience. So this was, the most intense scene in the entire season, the best episode of the season. This was. I remember when I first watched it. This was the episode that cemented it as the greatest show ever, in my own opinion. Mm-hmm. And fucking fantastic.
Phenomenal. Jack, we know you got to get out of here. Jesse and I will finish. We appreciate you always for being our narrator.
I apologize for the internet. I will call the fucking annoying people at Optimum.
It is no pressure, man. We'll talk later. We'll text you later, and Jesse and I, we will finish it out. Okay.
All right. Later, boys.
So yeah, Jesse, what are your thoughts? I need your thoughts at the end. Who are your favorite actors? Who stood out for you in this episode?
I mean, it's a Sanja's Son episode, right? It's a Kima episode, and probably Andre Royo again, Bubbles. Jack brought up a good point about getting into his backstory and stuff, acknowledging he had a son and stuff. But yeah, Kima. This was this whole episode. I was like, Kima's dead. And then when she got shot, I was like, she doesn't make it, right?
Right.
And then kind of but and that was the original plan. So
which is crazy. That's crazy to think about the show without Kima, bro. I can't even wrap my mind around thinking about The Wire without Kima, bro.
I wonder if they would have brought in another female cop or something. I don't know what they. Maybe Beatty would have had a bigger role.
Would have had a different role, maybe. That's interesting. And you know what, too? Something I was just thinking about, Jesse. Other than season 1, Bubbles does not flirt with any soberness seasons 2, 3, or 4. There is no trying to get clean or anything like that. That's just a random fact I was thinking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, my first AA meeting was in 2009. I didn't get sober to 2021, so
yeah, okay.
sometimes
it's a journey.
Sometimes you go to a meeting and the seed is planted, but it's not for you at the time.
It's a journey. We'll definitely appreciate you, bro. So this is episode 10. We appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Wiretapped Truths. We will be bringing you all a lot of stuff to finish this year. We definitely still want to connect with people in the different Facebook groups, just fans nationwide. Even if you're not in the Facebook groups, if you see this and you comment and you'd like to be on maybe a debate style situation, we are planning some stuff for the coming months. So just bear with us. And anybody that wants to possibly be on the podcast, comment here on the YouTube or reach out to us in the Facebook groups, either Jesse, Jack, or myself, and we'd be glad to talk to you and see where we could fit you in terms of being on the actual show. So, Jesse,
who was your favorite characters?
This episode, probably definitely Bubbles and Kima. I think Bubbles' journey with the soberness this episode that's something, like I said, we don't see a lot of from him. And then Kima, like you said, the foreshadowing moments where, you know, you can't deny, like, oh, should she have been dead? Like, kind of thing. You know, it's those are definitely the two standout people in this episode for sure. It was the story was about them two in this episode. So those are the two actors and actresses that stood out to me for sure. Well, awesome, man. We appreciate the love again. Please like, share, subscribe. Wiretapped Truths. We'll see you all next week.